if those sources ever want to start a rumor that I'm dating Sydney Sweeney, please put that out there as soon as possible. It really does change people's lives, rumors like this. So please, if you have any indication that Sydney Sweeney is dating me, please put that out there.
Happy New Year, Paisans. Welcome back to another episode of Calcio Culture. Thank you for being with us in 2025. We are looking forward to 2026. On today's episode, we're taking a look at match week 17, which saw Inter Milan maintain their lead at the top of the table. But before we start that, we got to talk about 2025 a little bit, and I'm going to hand it to Logs for this because he's definitely a big New Year's Eve kind of guy.
Paisans, good to be here. Last episode of Calcio Culture of 2025. What a year it's been. What a ride. Thank you for tagging along. Paisans, we thank you. This 2025 would be nothing without you guys commenting, liking, subscribing, interacting. We've gotten some new fans. We've gotten some new friends out of this. There's not much more you can ask for except for us to blow up in 2026 and get picked up by a network. So
wow.
If you guys know anybody, put us in touch. But again, thank you. 2025 has been awesome. Looking for an even better 2026. It's all about Serie A. It's always been about Serie A, and it always will be about Serie A and about Calcio because it is the culture. Paisans, good to be with you.
Well said, Logs. Before we get into the meat, quick and kind of not announcement, reminder. January and February, we're going to do mid-year reviews for teams. If you are a fan of any team in particular, comment, try to reach out to us by email. I don't even know what our email is.
CalcioCulture24 at gmail.com.
Send us
find us on all the socials. Find us on all the socials. DM us. We enjoy it. Like I said, all the socials, Calcio Culture FC, TikTok, X, YouTube, Instagram, you know where to find us. I really got to get that order down. I do not know why I switch it up every time, but it comes to me.
Well, the reason they're going to reach out is so they can come on the episode to talk about their teams, which you didn't let me finish. So just let us know if you're interested in doing that. It should be a lot of fun. We've had some people on in the past, and it went really well. So yeah, reach out to us. We'll be really happy to have people on here and talk about things a little bit differently. Any other announcement, Luke? Are we good?
No, I think we're good. I mean, just to give a quick preview, we've got a Napoli episode with a good friend of ours. We've got a Fiorentina episode coming up with a Paisan we have never met, one that just reached out of the blue. We really appreciate that. And we'll definitely be filling in all the blanks from there on out. Might have the Frasco brothers back for their little mid-season Roma update. So all good things coming in 2026. Looking for a hot start. If you want to be part of it, you know where to find us. Just restart the episode. I'll say it again.
In a different order, maybe. All right. Getting into it, we're going to start with the marquee matchup of the weekend. Definitely the biggest game, I think, by a lot.
Certainly.
Inter at Atalanta. This game was in Bergamo, obviously, ended 1-0. Goal in this one from Lautaro Martínez off of a pretty brutal giveaway from Gin City on the Napoli side of things. Other things notably in this game, there was a couple of goals called off. The Lautaro Martínez goal that got called. He scored it? Thuram scored. Lautaro is off by like a toe, basically. It's one of those ones I would like to see get out of the game and just call that a goal, honestly. But overall, it was a 1-0 game that was actually really entertaining. I don't think that really tells the full story. It was a really good tactical battle. I think on any given day, this game could have been 1-1. It could have been Atalanta win, but ultimately Inter get it done in a pretty big game where they've kind of struggled against big. I'm going to still call Atalanta a bigger club. In a year where they've struggled, this one was kind of a battle. And they ultimately came out on the other side of that. And this is now their fourth win in a row, continuing to stay at the top of the table. They're currently on 36 points, 1 point clear of Milan in second, and just continuing to hold it. I mean, what I was saying like a week or two ago is I have no faith in them to kind of string together wins and hold first place, and they have. Quick things for you, Lokes, coming out of this game on an Inter perspective?
No, the biggest thing that I take away from this game with Inter is that they finally were able to close out a game. We've been questioning them all along that their biggest issue was a mentality thing, not being able to close out games, and whether or not they gave up the chances that they did, which again, like you said, it could have been a 1-1 game. This could have been a 2-2 game, or 2-1 in favor of Atalanta. We'll get into that in a second. We finally get a game where Inter closes it out. I've talked about it a lot with Milan and how it doesn't matter how you get points right now. It matters that you get them. And a 1-0 win is 3 points for Inter in a very, very tight Scudetto race at the top. Right now, 1 through 5 is 35, 34, 33, 32, 31. And so any point matters. And again, I'm not going to sit here and say that I would have expected Inter to come away from an Atalanta game at Bergamo with all 3 points confidently. But this is a 3 points that is incredibly important for them. And on the other side, it's, Atalanta just love giving points to Inter. So I guess I can't say that I'm surprised by the outcome.
Yeah, I mean, I think kind of what you were alluding to there. A 1-0 game is very much not an Inter game
No,
historically. Like they're not good at keeping a 1-goal lead. They give it away, and they tried really hard to give this game away at the end. I mean, Samardzic missed. I mean, bad miss, really
really
bad miss
bad
from
miss.
Samardzic, like late in the game to push it through. But yeah, I mean, overall, they did what they needed to do to get a win here. I think they probably would have liked to put more goals away, and I think they did have the chance to do that. They ran into a pretty good Karnaseki, which hurt them a little bit. But to kind of get into the lineup here, and I mean, there's not a lot of craziness, but starting from the back, Kivu went back to that Bastoni, Anji Bisic 3. And it seems like that is where they're going to go moving forward. I mean, this is back-to-back games now, and it's like this was a big game too. This wasn't like, oh, let's try this out. I mean, this is a
No,
big game. You're in Bergamo, so I think presumably now going forward, that's gonna be the three wingbacks, DeMarco and Luis Enrique, who is still covering for Denzel Dumfries, and I think that's going to be an interesting development that we can talk about a little bit. The midfield three was Hakan, Barella, and Zielinski. Zielinski in the left side of role, and then Thuram and Lautaro up top. Going through that team, there's a couple things that I just want to quickly pull out of that. First thing is Thuram and Lautaro up top. I feel like we haven't seen that a lot because one of them has been hurt. I mean, Thuram specifically has been hurt for kind of extended periods this year. It is so much better than everything. Like I was saying
100%.
earlier, Boney's like as good as Thuram. Maybe like it doesn't really matter. The two of them up top, it's the best partnership in the league, I think, by an insane margin still, especially when they're both on.
There is one that's creeping up, but I certainly agree.
Hoyland Neres,
The Hoyland Neres Wombo combo. But no, I agree. And in the fact that they can start those guys and leave
Yeah.
a Boney or a Pio, who in this game had the assist and has continued to show.
I think technically hockey assist though, right? Did he get the full
No,
assist?
no, Jim Zitti literally passed it to Pio, and Pio was composed as hell up top. Nice little layoff to Lautaro with a wacky finish, and not gonna dog Karnaseki for maybe a save there for the rest of the game that he showed. But the fact that they can pull those guys off the bench with Thuram and Lautaro starting is just potent.
Yeah, I think potent to say the least. I mean, yeah, it was kind of a blessing in disguise, right? Like Thuram being hurt gave Pio the chance, gave Boney the chance, and now this new evolution of Inter, it's 90 minutes. You don't know which way they're going to be attacking you from. I think actually Matteo said that on the broadcast in a little bit different light. He's saying like midfielders can score, wingbacks can score, center backs can score. It's like that's the best part about this Inter team. And it has been since I think even the Conte days. They just attack you from all different areas and everybody can hurt you. So the other thing I wanted to pull out, there's two other things I wanted to pull out because I think we've talked about the back three quite a bit, specifically in Bisic and Akanji and wanting that. I want to talk about Zielinski a little bit more because I think we saw him in his best role in this game. And he's kind of started to play as a left-sided number 8 pairing with Hakan and Barella. What I really like about this is he is more of an attacking midfielder. And in this system, even going back to the Inzaghi days, that left-sided midfielder has historically been Mkhitaryan, who is more of a winger, a number 9, a number 10, whatever you want to call it. And I think that's what Zielinski was at his best at when he was a number 10 on Napoli. Now him in that role, he was really effective. One of the goals that got called off was actually him had the hockey assist technically. I think, yeah, it was a hockey assist technically. So he passes to Lautaro, kind of beat a man on a turn in the center of the field, very much like a number 10 area. So I think that's something to watch because in a game like this, and maybe against lower level teams, this makes more sense to me than a Sucic. And I love Sucic, but he's not offering that same final third kind of flair or passing ability that Zielinski kind of brings to the table. And I think as like a chess piece in different games, having those two guys, and you can even throw Mkhitaryan in the mix, although it seems like he's on the outs now, and Kivu is kind of finding a way to get Zielinski into the team realistically at this point. I think that's an interesting one and one that we are going to continue to watch. And Zielinski's heating up. And if Zielinski gets really hot and starts scoring a lot of goals and assisting a lot of goals, this team could hit another dimension that they haven't really seen before. Even with when Mkhitaryan was at his best, I mean, last year he was great, but has never been like a Zielinski titan in this league.
No, and when you go back to Zielinski at his best in this league, it was in a very similar setup where Zambo Anguissa was playing in a Barella-like role, box to box, all over the place, high energy, and then you had a Labaka deep-lying playmaker where Hakan obviously plays that role. So it certainly lets Zielinski take advantage of the field. He's a very smart player, and he's always been very methodical in his way, but in the same sense, he's he's very straightforward. He very 1-2 touch, quick passing, quick decision making. So having a little bit of more support, a little more structure around him helps a lot rather than having him start so deep lying and having to fill in for them that Hakan role.
Yeah, agreed. And then go ahead.
No, I do think on top of that, from a tactical standpoint, the other player that has been mixing it up a little bit in this lineup has been Luis Enrique. And
Right.
I will never say that having Denzel Dumfries out of this lineup is a benefit to this team. It will never be Denzel Dumfries is, as we've always said, a top wingback in all of Europe. But having Luis Enrique kind of come to light in the last couple of games has definitely been incredibly helpful for them. It's a much different player profile than when you're playing Carlos Augusto out on the right, especially just because that's super out of position for him, one. But number two, Luis Enrique fills more of those holes that Denzel Dumfries leaves on the offensive side. And you saw that very clearly in one of the attacking one of the opportunities that they should have finished in this game where Barella absolutely boofed it. But the way that
forgot about that one. Boof. That was almost, I wrote down soon out of the week, and then he got one upped later on. Somehow.
He did get one upped, which is really tough because this Barella miss was just horrendous. I mean, it went deep into the stands from the penalty mark.
Net.
But Luis Enrique giving that offensive spark on the right side, especially now that they have the back three much more solidified, I think is definitely plays into the favor of Inter. And I think it matched up much better against this Atalanta team where their strong suit has historically been those wingbacks. Luis Enrique was able to match up much better and actually provide a threat from the outside rather than just a placeholder in Carlos Augusto. I'm not dogging Carlos Augusto by any means. He's a very strong player.
Different. Yeah.
It's a very different player profile, and in this game it should have been another goal for Inter. But I think once he continues to get the playing time that we've seen, that may continue to produce some more offense that we haven't seen from that side of the field.
Yeah, I'm happy you brought this one up because I also think this is kind of one of my biggest takeaways from this game is this guy in particular. And on your point about Denzel Dumfries going down is never, like, it's hard to say it's a good thing, but with this kind of new Kivu system, they play a little bit slower. And I think that you kind of lose some of the best part of Dumfries when you slow the game down a little bit. Because I think they've gone away from get the ball to DeMarco, and then DeMarco just crosses it. Like, goals aren't really coming from that as much. At the beginning of the year, they were. They've kind of moved away from that a little bit. So you kind of lose the best part of Dumfries in that. And then I think the other point you made is defense has started to be solidified. Dumfries is really good defensively, and Luis Enrique is more of a winger, I would call him, like an attacking midfielder winger kind of thing. So you almost like aren't missing that side of his game, and you no longer can justify, let's play Carlos Augusto out there because he's a natural defender. Luis Enrique is a very interesting and weird player, and they have found a way to get him into the team. He is very much like a 1v1 player or like an inside midfielder. It's very strange. In the way that they're playing right now, he is getting on the ball a lot and is getting in 1v1 situation, and it's adding a new dimension to this team that I don't think anybody really expected. Their wingbacks historically have been like classic wingback type players, like Hakimi, very wide, very wingbacky kind of guy. DeMarco, Dumfries, right? We can keep going. And this is a new one. And I think when Dumfries comes back into the team, there's going to be a legitimate question of whether or not he should be playing. And I think that's going to be warranted because from what we've seen from Luis Enrique, I don't think he's at his peak yet. And he's been very clearly getting better game after game after game after game in finding the spots where he can be really good in this. I think the next level he needs to hit that DeMarco and Dumfries do very well is know when to get the ball out of your feet. Like you're really good 1v1, but you're kind of holding the ball a little bit too long. You're kind of doing too much 1v1. Sometimes the best decision is Thuram or Lautaro in the box. Let me just try to get it to them. And he hasn't really learned that yet. He's got Brazilian flair, really, is the way of thinking about it, that he can't get out of the system just yet. And I think he'll get there. But I mean, the best 11 now for this team is starting to get interesting, where it's like, obviously there's a couple guys that are 100% locks, I would say, in Thuram, Lautaro, Bastoni, Akanji, and DeMarco, Barella, Khan. I may have already said them. Kind of just looped myself. But like Jan Sommer is maybe getting forced out of this team. There's no reason that Bissek is going to play every game. Dumfries comes back. That position's up for grabs. Linsky's position, left center mid, fully up for grabs. So now it's like, there's competition in the team that wasn't really there a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, which could push this team to that next level.
Well, I think that, again, if Dumfries is 100%, I'm putting Dumfries
I probably
in this lineup.
I don't know, dude. I think if Dumfries is gone for another month, because I actually don't know how much longer he is out, Luis Enrique could start contributing some goals here. And I think it could be a very difficult situation to say we're going to bench you now.
But my point being is I think what this does for Inter is it allows them to not have to rush Dumfries back. You look back to last season and how they absolutely fell apart at the end of the season in their treble race. This allows Dumfries to get back to 100% because they don't have a glaring hole in that right side if Luis Enrique can keep up this form. And like you said, he's got a couple of kinks to work out, but that'll come with time. That just comes with chemistry with the rest of the team. So if he continues to get the minutes that we're seeing, I think that that he'll slowly morph into what this team really needs, and then it'll be a real conversation about who needs to get the playing time there.
And to wrap on Inter here, kind of like the one, because they've kind of been top of the table now. Nothing's really different apart from Luis Enrique. Like obviously, like we're talking about Zielinski, but nothing's really changed, I would say, for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of a question now that I kind of thought of, which I think is an interesting one. I think we're probably going to be in agreement. But where does this team now rank amongst like going back to Antonio Conte, then the Inzaghi era, both of which saw Scudetto? Like where do they fall in terms of that kind of hierarchy? And then I think in the same vein, where are they in terms of their like Scudetto winning window? Because kind of coming into the season, I'm still getting the sense they're kind of on the tail end of that with a possibility of kind of renewing this kind of going for it and going again. It's kind of on a knife's edge for me. But wanted to get your thoughts, and then I can kind of give mine.
Well, I want to make sure we have this fully straight. The second year Conte team is by far their best team.
I think it was too.
There's no question. I mean, well, we're not there yet. Obviously, we're halfway through a season, and to only have a couple of, real Serie A products to go off of, that team was better. This team to me is better than where Inter was last season, even though they were in the treble hunt. But I think there was a lot of storylines that came out of this past weekend that the generic fan here will overcompensate and kind of lean into and think that this is going to be a trend. I don't want to call this a trend out of Inter. Obviously, 4 wins in 4 games is great, but there is still that mentality thing that we're not 100% certain of. This was a move in the right.
This could have been a 1-1 draw, like very much probably should have been.
Right, and you can build momentum off this. I'm not going to say that. Yeah. Atalanta being in 9th place is a little bit of a misnomer for this team. It's a quality team with a lot of quality players, and Palladino's just getting to his stride at the helm. But I do want to see this continue. If that were to continue, the depth that they've built into this squad certainly puts them ahead of where they were last year.
Yeah. In terms of Scudetto window, where do you think they are? I think they're kind of at the tail end of a window, but with some of the signings they made that look to be panning out, they could kind of renew that. But I think it's really contingent on, does Bissek step up? Does Barella kind of re-find himself? Do Boni continue to be good? Does
the Barella question is a huge one, in my opinion. I've always been skeptical of the recent performances out of Barella.
Yeah. He's been not great. Like he's been good. That's actually not
on
true.
Barella terms. He's been just okay.
Yes, yeah, exactly. He hasn't stamped games like he used to stamp.
No,
games.
Barella obviously has high standards, and it's rightfully so. So you gotta hold him to some pretty tough metrics. But from a window standpoint, what they've done with these signings is, I think, from the beginning of the season, I thought this was probably their last season to really go for it in the same fashion that they have been. With the signings and with the depth, I think they've elongated that window by at least another season.
Right.
So I see this being an 18-month window here, where if they don't win this year, they have another chance next year. But at that point, it's like, what more do you need to really solidify another Scudetto win in this league? And if they don't capitalize going into next season, every other team is just getting better, right? And every other team that we will talk about and that we have talked about is more so on the climb rather than the descend. And Inter just happen to be on the other side of the hump right now. It doesn't mean that they're not, they're top of the table. There's nothing wrong with where they are right now. But it is slowly closing, but they've done a decent job to elongate that period.
Yeah, I think I'm in agreement all. I would say Inzaghi's team that went, even last year, they should have. I think the best version of Inzaghi's team was the best we've seen of this new era Inter. This team.
But the league wasn't as good. The league wasn't as good.
Yeah, but he got to a Champions League final, probably should have won one,
sure.
Then probably should have won a couple trophies last year, didn't.
2 Champions League finals.
I just think he got to 2. Got demolished in one of them. But when I look back at the Conte team and then the Inzaghi team, and obviously, again, like you're saying, it's still early, but those teams dominated, and they dominated games. This Inter team hasn't really done that yet, which is why I think they're kind of a step below, and maybe they'll get there. I think a lot of things Kivu has done is good, but he's got he's in a big shadow that Inzaghi and Conte left, and it seems like they're kind of. I just don't know if they're going to get back to that level. I guess it's kind of how I'm thinking about it. Even though like they're so good, right? They're still in first, but they're not quite at the level that they've been at in the past couple of years.
I'll say just from the Twitter sphere that this Inter fan base is not easy to please, rightfully so. They're used
Yeah,
they're
that is so
they're
true.
used, the best of the best and being in the Scudetto race every single year and vying for Champions Leagues and Vos obviously bandwagoning the other side of Milan. But the Inter fan base seems to be pretty content with this team. And so from that measure, I feel a little bit more comfortable about where they are now than they were where they were last year. But that's again, hindsight's 2020. You lose all 3 trophies in the matter of 2 weeks, and you're gonna look pretty poorly upon that season.
Right. Yeah, definitely. Good on Inter. Want to talk about Atalanta?
Good on Inter. I think Atalanta. There's a story that evolved here, and you really pinpointed
Yeah.
it with the fact that this was probably one of Atalanta's best performances of the season, certainly under Palladino. This team has definitely taken immense strides since the manager change, which is great to see. Obviously, starting from where they were when Palladino was hired is a tough sell, but to be in this game and to have potentially won this game on multiple occasions, like I don't want to praise the almost, and I don't want to give any participation trophies out here, but to the point that you made, it's like when I go back and I watch this game and I watch, where the main points of contention were, it's like Atalanta was more dangerous, I would say, overall. And so I think they just need to find their pep, right? They need to find
I think they have it. I think they have it. Coming out of this game, my biggest takeaway is like Atalanta, Palladino's the right guy, first of all. This is the first time that Atalanta has put up a fight against Inter in a very long time. And it very much could have gone their way in a win or a tie. And I think if they tie this game, the headlines are, oh my God, Atalanta tied Inter Milan. And like, this is a big deal, all these things. And the fact that they didn't, I think that's been diluted a little bit. But I agree. This was Atalanta's best performance in a very, very long time. And kind of just where I get to that point, and we can kind of get into some of the things that happened from an Atalanta perspective. First thing from a lineup standpoint, they're without Bellanova, they're without Lookman.
Yeah, they had this performance with 1,000% not their best lineup.
Yeah, and like to go through the lineup, like obviously those guys are missing. Then in the back line, it was Jim City, Ian, and Kalashniak, which is obviously not their best back three. And it looks like Anas Ahnour is going to be leaving. He's pretty heavily linked to Real Madrid and Chelsea. So I think that's why he's on the bench around 100%. Very hefty. I saw 60 mil. So the wing backs kind of replacement guys, Zappacosta and Zalewski, I thought they both were actually pretty good. Classic midfield too with Ederson and Darun, and then up top, CDK, Scamacca, Pasalic. So that kind of sets the scene. And what I want to talk about specifically is Palladino, because he did something that Gasperini never did, and Juric didn't really do, and I think a lot of managers generally don't do. And we saw him do it at Fiorentina, is be malleable and change what you're doing to meet your opponent and kind of change things up a little bit, whether it be formation, whether it be some tactical tweaks. In this game, it wasn't formation. It was fully like a tactical tweak. And basically what he did was just slow the game down. I mean, Inter Milan thrive in counterattacks, and basically Atalanta's plan was we're not going to play any counterattacking football whatsoever. When they were in possession, they were very slow in possession. They took their time in buildup, which I would say is very not Atalanta for the most part. They made sure that players were in positions from a resting defense standpoint, where if they did lose the ball, they were very much in a position to have numbers and defend. When they didn't have the ball, they were in a lower block, and they were totally okay with that. They looked really good. They were still pressing, kind of going man to man. It worked really well. And then the last thing I think that really stood out to me was the role of Pasalic in this game. He fully was dropping into the midfield, like extremely, extremely deep, both in possession and out of possession, to kind of nullify the 3v2 advantage that Inter Milan would normally have. And I thought he did a really good job of it. And I think that's really the only player on this Atalanta team that is like veteran enough, has been around the block enough to kind of understand that role, understand what he's doing. So I give a lot of kudos to Palladino for that. And this shows what Palladino can do. Something like this. Losing 1-0 to Inter is not a big deal for an Atalanta team that's been underperforming all year. And not even that, like, you probably should have gotten points from this game. This is what Palladino is. And of all the appointments that have happened, like, this guy gets it. And he's got this team firing now. I thought everybody played well. I think we're seeing the best of CDK even that we've seen in a while from a creativity standpoint. Scamacca probably didn't have his best game, but I still think he's a handful and was playing well. So I loved everything I saw from Atalanta. I hope they come out of this game and just absolutely keep rolling.
The low block would have worked a lot better if Jim City didn't play the worst game of his life. right?
Yeah, just
I mean,
is bad.
he had the hockey assist to the goal, so, at the end of the day, if that doesn't happen, this is a 0-0 game in theory. So, the malleability is certainly a factor. The other thing that you brought up in Pasalic is I always find it interesting and fascinating how players like a Pasalic who came up through the league as a very offensive player, pseudo striker, can play all three positions up top. As they get older, morph into new positions, and we saw it with we see it with Hakan, we've seen it with a bunch of other players, and now Pasalic has taken that first step. I think in the last
Yeah, I
either
mean,
this
he's played
season
even
or the
the
last
yeah, he's played
season
in
and
the
a half,
midfield too this year, so for sure, yeah.
where he's taken a step back from the offensive focus and been able to morph himself into more of a well-rounded midfielder. And so to have that experience, that wherewithal to know that you're not necessarily in the prime for the position that you had always played, but can now take a step into a different direction and just be the Swiss Army knife that maybe the team needs is definitely something that plays into Palladino's hands quite well. And so that everything that we're pointing to here just shows that this 1-0 loss on paper sucks. You hate to see this, especially at home.
Yeah, when you could have gotten something else too.
No matter who it's against, we're not gonna say Inter is an easy game by any means, but I hope, like you said, I hope that they come out of this game with some positives and fold this into some more momentum because they should not be looking down on themselves after this one.
Yeah, definitely. And coming into the new year, they've got Roma and then Bologna. So like you win those two games and they're playing very well. Roma's played bad against good teams and Bologna's kind of been on the downslide. If you win both of those, you're clawing points off of teams that are above you. You're kind of dragging your way back into potentially European spot. And then after that, you've got Torino, Pisa, Parma. And it's like they could go on a run here. They could win 5 games in a row and it wouldn't be the most insane thing ever. And if you do that, pull some points off of people above you, like you're getting close to the European spot. I'm excited. I mean, even in the Champions League, they've been very good under Palladino. And I mean, this team could very well get right back up to that top 4 level next year. And I would not be surprised at all.
Yeah, I mean, I think that these next 2 games are incredibly important because
Very
if
important.
they do drop points here, there starts to be a little bit of a separation from them and the rest of that European competition spots.
Right.
Bologna at 26, they're 4 points behind them. Roma's at 33, not necessarily looking at them, but Como at 27, right? Como's incredibly hot. You can't expect them to drop too many points from here on out. If you can pick up 3 on Bologna, that's a huge step in the right direction and keeping them in that mix. Otherwise, you find yourself falling behind again in that limbo area that Udinese, Cremonese, Sassuolo are operating in, which you just don't want to be there.
The Udinese. I'm so done with Udinese.
Cannot be vying with Udinese for a spot.
Do you have anything else on Atalanta or are you good? Because for me, it's positive vibes. I've kind of been saying it like, oh, this year it's going to be in development, but I feel like I'm finally seeing it. Like I see what Palladino his ideas are in this team now. I fully saw it in this game.
Mm-hmm.
This is probably the happiest I've been after an Atalanta game. Definitely all year. Definitely.
Certainly all year. Maybe not last year, but the ghost of Gasperini past is gone. It's certainly left. I don't think that his fingerprints are any longer on this squad. So if anything else, the final thing that I'll say here is that it just makes Fiorentina look that much dumber.
Yeah, that whole situation got out of hand. But keeping it rolling, another team who I finally am feeling the vibes from is Juventus. They went to Pisa this weekend. They won 2-0 goals from Pierre Kalulu. And once again, and in Yildiz, that guy cannot stop scoring. Obviously, Pisa, not the biggest team, but I wanted to talk about Juve. We've talked about them a little bit more over the last couple of weeks, but coming out of this game, I was so thrilled and optimistic finally. And it took them a long time to score. Don't get me wrong. 73rd minute and the 92nd minute. So it could have gone a different way. And I think some people definitely on the commentary, they weren't as hot on this performance as I was, but I really liked what I saw. The lineup in this one was Lloyd Kelly, Bremer, Kalulu. Juve have not lost since Bremer came back. I think that's extremely important because I think Lloyd Kelly has also hit another level since Bremer has come back. Midfield 2, Thuram, Locatelli. Wingbacks, McKennie, Cambiaso. And then the front 3, Yildiz, Openda, Poop Miners, bro. Poop Miners.
But bigger than that, his own way.
Lineup does not end up being that important to me. There's a lot of things I want to talk about. Is there anything quick you want to hit on, or should we just get into this?
I'll just level set because I level set with Inter as well. They played Pisa.
They played Pisa.
Has presumably been a tough team all season, but again, it's Pisa. And it's starting to move in the right direction. I don't want to get too hot on Juve, especially because I was so hard set on this team being broken a couple weeks ago. I'm not ready to let go of that statement yet, especially because I'll just look like a big dumb idiot. But it was certainly a promising performance. A lot of things that we've been, and Mott specifically has been just praying and calling for years now, started to shine through. And in all props to Spalletti, but I'll hand it to you.
All right. I had a lot of notes writing this one down, so I'm going to go like line by line what my notes are. First note, they might be back. I fully think they might be back. Like I said this a couple weeks ago, like it's starting to look like they might be back. Now I'm like, they might be back, dude.
The old lady got some Botox. The old lady got
and
some Botox.
The reason I say this, and this goes into bolt number 2, I saw a mentality from Juventus that I don't remember seeing for like 3 or 4 years. I legitimately mean that. I think Mott's would probably agree with me. And what that mentality was Fino alla fine. Fully saw in this game. Things weren't going well for 70 plus minutes. They had a lot of ball and they were kind of getting stifled and stifled and stifled. But they were relentless. And that's what old Juve was. They were relentless and they got shitty, scrappy goals and they never, ever gave up. And in this game, I finally saw that heart, that desire to go and win games in any fashion. When Kalulu scored, he went ballistic. And I've watched Kalulu for a very long time, and I don't remember Kalulu ever being that excited about anything, ever.
Not even during
like,
the
Scudetto
run of Milan.
He's a pretty composed player. Yeah. So I think that says a lot. The other side of this, which is why I also think Juve might be back, is I see Spalletti's fingerprints on this team. Similar to how I saw Palladino's fingerprints with Atalanta, I'm seeing it on Juventus. And that mainly is the offensive stance that this team is now taking. There was an intense press in this game that, again, I haven't seen from a Juve team in like 2 to 3 years. And I was so happy to see it. Like there was actual pressing with intention and with intensity. That's really big. The other thing was the entire team, like as a whole in possession, was just higher up the field. Like where every person's position was higher up the field. Locatelli was getting a lot higher than I usually see him. McKennie was high. Lloyd Kelly was getting into it. Kalulu scored a goal, like so obviously it was there. And then the last thing, which I think really demonstrates this, is early on in the game, Kefren Turam was coming deep to receive the ball in kind of like the wide left center back kind of area. Spalletti went ballistic on him and was screaming at him to go push forward, get into the box, get on the edge of the box. And that is a clear contrast from what we've seen for a long time, which is Locatelli and Turam kind of being good, but not really dangerous. And now that's clearly telling me the Turam role is meant to be a dangerous role. And I thought Locatelli did a lot of good things, but Locatelli is still going to be kind of like the regista in this team. And if you, this is what I've been screwing out for. They need another guy to go get in the box. And I think the other thing that could come of this, that's Coop Miner's best spot. And I'm still open to Coop Miners playing that role. And I don't think Turam has been lights out this year. So that's kind of like my high level Juve things. I have some personnel stuff I want to talk about, but would love to get any comments you have there.
No, I think my only comment there is on the Turam role, similar to how Inter seemingly has built up their defensive back three, solidified that. Having Bremer back in this lineup solidifies their back line, which unlocks this midfield, right? The midfield has seemingly had to overcompensate for some defensive, I guess, lack of solidity, right?
Right. Where they're playing guys that really shouldn't have been playing, essentially.
Right. And Locatelli has to drop back between the lines. Kefren Turam has to overcompensate and play more defense. With this back line, with Bremer anchoring it, it allows you to release a Turam or release a potential Coop Miners in that spot. And that
Bremer's a dog, dude.
He's a dog.
I mean, Bremer is such a
they're
dog.
not only undefeated with him back right now, they're undefeated with him throughout the entire season. Right. And that's a trend that we saw last season. It was unfortunate that he went down so early, but he really makes a huge difference for this team. And to that point, plays into Spalletti's hands and allows him to be a little bit more creative with the six in front of them. So if it's Turam that ends up taking that role and really shines and keeps up the minutes, or it's Coop Miners that finally finds himself, revamps himself to the days of Atalanta, that's only going to get better.
Agreed. I think the Bremer has also given us the best. I like Lloyd Kelly got a lot of confidence this year, I think, which obviously he's played well, but he was kind of forced in the center back spot, which I think limited him. Now that he's off the left, we're kind of seeing more of the offensive side of his game. particularly, and I think he's doing it very well to the point where I think it's legitimate that Lloyd Kelly, Bremer, it may be an upgrade. Like, I wouldn't necessarily be looking to upgrade Lloyd Kelly anymore. That's how good I think he's been, especially on the ball. I've been very impressed with him. Couple other personnel ones that I just want to talk about. This was Cambiaso's best game of 2025.
By far.
Not of this season, of the entire year of 2025. And it took him almost 365 days to have a good game. But he did finally do it. He made good decisions. Like, he made good decisions. He didn't lose the ball in bad areas. He was good defensively, was very dangerous 1v1, which is, I haven't seen that since when he first broke out onto the scene. I don't know where it came from, but I'm loving that. I would like to see that continue. I'm not sure it is. The other personnel piece that I think is very important is I thought Openda was really good. He had a goal that was called off for offsides, but he is being busy. And that was something that I've been crying out for a Juve forward for a long time. Like Vlahovic, never busy. Jonathan David hasn't really been busy. Openda was busy this game. When I say busy, you're making runs. You're pressing guys in areas. You're doing different things to be effective in the game, regardless of if you have the ball, if you don't have the ball. You're trying to make things happen. And I love to see that from him. And I think that this has to be the guy going forward for this team to be successful, because I'm not seeing it from Jonathan David. I'm only seeing it from Luis Openda. And then the last guy, I don't know if I want to talk about it. And I mentioned it a little bit, but I kind of want to talk about it. It's Poop Miners.
Good old Poop Miners, man.
He doesn't really have a place in the team. Obviously, I said I think he can play in that left center mid role, but right wing, not his spot. Left center back, not his spot. Yeah, left center back, not his spot. He has done bad in midfield too for this team. I think Spalletti should give him a chance as the left center mid, because I don't think we've seen him under Spalletti in that role. And this team is very much playing differently from how they were playing under Mata, how they were playing under Tudor. That's it. That's his last chance. Give him like 2-3 games there. But other than that, like it was a whiff. It might be a whiff. And you got to move on, get other blood in there, stop trying to force him into the team. You have Moretti coming back, who I thought played very well in this game off the bench. You have Zagrova now trying to get into the team. Chico, obviously.
Yeah, I mean,
what do you want to say? Like, what do you want to talk about with this guy? We got to talk about it because he's a big deal.
Well, when you're worth $60 million off the rip, you got to talk about him. But
allegedly.
I think you have that right wing spot figured out now. Chico Conceição has been playing phenomenally. Zagrova off the bench in his short spurts has been awesome.
Wombo combo.
Has been
sick
awesome.
Wombo combo.
And then we finally saw Moretti, who had a spurt of greatness in this team, which I think we will see more of. And we obviously think that he's a great player.
He might be my favorite Juve player. It's still Cambiaso, but I think he's my second.
You also don't like Cambiaso. You hate Cambiaso.
I know, I hate him, but I love him. He's my favorite Juve player, but I hate him.
I think that Poop Miners is solidly a backup at this point, is a role player, which is unfortunate because he's an expensive role player. But unfortunately for him, the last player to be in this spot was Douglas Luiz, and they were very quick to get rid of him. This Juve squad,
he is close to that. He's really close. That's a good point.
He is close, which I'm worried about because number one, Juve is going to take a huge hit to get rid of him.
Yeah,
but number two, he's so fucking frustrating. He
is frustrating.
We know what he's capable of, and to the point we just made about how Thuram played in this game, like he clearly can play that role. We know he can play that role. He's got the worst funk I've ever seen out of a player ever. But this, on the flip side, fortunately for him, Juve, through every manager they've had, consistently want him to be in the lineup.
Right, that's true. That's a good point.
Which is playing to Poop Miners' benefit. I don't think that they give up on him before next summer at the minimum, but you can't let a $60 million guy ride the pine for that long. Luckily for him, the two-man midfield, I don't see another guy that fills in for Thuram or Locatelli after Poop Miners, so it's not like that position's going anywhere for him unless Moretti falls back into that center mid role, which I don't think is his best spot.
Or McKennie, I guess.
Well, yeah, McKennie's going to play wherever they want him to play. He's going to be happy to do so.
Right. I mean, for the number of games this team's playing, it makes sense to have Thuram, Locatelli, Poop Miners at all times.
100%.
Right? You're going to have to rotate. Yeah. I don't think he's in the Douglas Luiz situation yet.
Not yet.
I think they're going to keep trying.
But I wanted to note that because that's exactly what happened to Douglas Luiz. He was a big buy. I mean, in theory, they spent $50 million with the players that they sent out as well. We'll see how much longer Poop Miners gets in the squad.
I mean, this is a guy who, before he was on Juve, went 14 goal contributions, then 17 goal contributions in Serie A. Like, he is good. He's definitely
He's got the
good,
pedigree.
and
He's
he's
just got to get out of this
definitely good in
funk.
this league.
He's got to get out of this
Yeah.
funk.
I think they just got to. His best role is in the midfield. You got to keep trying him there. Do it in different ways. I do think this new look Spalletti team, and again, this is the first time we saw the new look Spalletti team, so I'm saying this is the new look. Higher up to field, being dangerous, wanting to get in the box. That's Coop Miners. Coop Miners is a guy that plays right attacking mid
Or
left center back. Has to like come in and play super deep with Locatelli. We don't want Poop Miners. We want Coop Miners, and I think he's back if they play him.
Fingers crossed. I'm a huge Coop Miners guy, and I don't think I'm the only one. There's something about him that just doesn't make you want to give up, and you just know it's
passion.
You know it's in there, but when you watch him play left center back or even right wing, and he's just a lump. He's a lump on the field and just lurking around. That's not him. I want him back to the days next to Ederson, next to Darun, getting high up the pitch, taking fucking cock shots from 40 yards out, top shed. That's what I'm looking for. That's what I want. And I think he still got it. And it's unfortunate to say this, but give him more time. Just give him some more time.
Yeah, this is one of the few guys that I'm like, he needs more time. But I mean, coming out of this game into the new year, Juve have Lecce, SAS, Cremonese, Cagliari.
What a blessing.
You're playing good. You're hitting a good time to play your best ball in forever.
You know, best of luck to Juve fans in dry January, because having that lineup of games, you gotta get boosted. You're gonna get hyped up.
Champagne
champagne showers,
and you gotta have champagne down the gullet.
I mean, like I said, and I stand corrected, top 5 is 36, 35, 34, 33, 32. That 32 is Juve. That's
they're right there. They're right there.
That's not the same Juve that I was calling broken. This is a Juve that's right in the mix, and that with a nice stretch of games where this Serie A league, we all know teams will drop points if they can solidify a little bit of a run here. 3 wins right now. Maybe they match Inter with a 4th and maybe a 5th and a 6th. This Juve is looking a bit scary.
Yeah, I mean, they're 4-1 last 5, and one of those losses was Napoli, where they probably should have gotten a point out of it.
Certainly.
And then on top of that, they also beat Roma and beat Bologna. So I mean, they've been playing well, but now all of a sudden, like, it looks good. And that's kind of what we've been crying out for so many teams. Like, it hasn't looked good on the field. Now it looks good on the field. So, I mean,
they passed the results
check. They're doing the thing. They're doing the thing you need to do and just get better. And they're getting better.
They passed the score check, the results check, but they also passed the vibe check, which for me is incredibly important.
I mean, they haven't had vibes in a very long time. So, yeah, since Ronaldo, probably. That was the last time they had vibes.
And that's a long time to go without vibes.
That's a long time without vibes. That's Juve on Pisa. I don't want to talk about them.
I don't want to talk about Pisa either, but I mean,
I don't think they're really. I think they're going to get relegated.
Let's move it on with this. You know, good job, Pisa. You know, they're at least
they fight. They had
they're
chances
not sitting down.
Game.
They're not just taking it. They're fighting back. They're not good, so it's not the results aren't going to be there. But you know what? I'll say it. Pisa passed the vibe check. I hate watching Pisa, but they passed the vibe check.
Then they don't pass the vibe check. They create chances. They just, I don't know.
Well, and they
need to stop conceding. They concede goals
a lot of goals. Yeah. What's their goal? They got a bad.
I'm
GD.
checking right now.
They got a -12 GD. That's not 1-8-8.
It's not even like I don't know.
1-8-8. That's not terrible. Yeah. That's fucking actually 8 draws though. 8 draws at the bottom of the table. That kind of.
They have the worst goal differential in the league. That's the point of it, right? They got to be better. They're not staying up. They're not good enough. They don't have the players. It's not happening.
You know what's crazy? Before we move on, they have the worst goal differential, but they don't have the most goals conceded.
I know they're kind of like mid-table
Udinese and Torino. 28 goals,
which I wouldn't have guessed.
No, Torino suck. Udinese suck. Pisa suck. We'll move on.
Yeah, we'll move on. Kind of going through the rest of the games, so we'll be a little bit quicker through these. Fiorentina went to Parma. They lost that game 1-0 on an Oliver Sorensen lone goal. Pellegrino assist in that one. I thought Pellegrino played really well.
He played one, but he played fine.
I think this whole team played really well. I mean, Bernabe balled the fuck out again.
Bernabe is a good player. Get him out of Parma.
We saw Orsitano come back. He almost scored a goal. Like a lot. Like this is the Parma that we thought they could be coming into the season. Like they played well. They're not good still. They're still bad. I don't like the style of football they're playing under Cuesta, but this is like what they can do. When their good players show up and play well, their good players are very good. And they beat the shit out of Fiorentina, in my opinion. I thought Fiorentina was not in this game.
Well, that on the Fiorentina side, I think it's time to pick out a casket. I think it's time to set up the ceremonies because this team, they got their 3 points and they're like, all right, well, at least we're not going to be defeated this season. I don't think that they don't have it. They don't have it. They don't have the heart. They don't have the green. This team is This team is slowly fading into Serie B, and I think this January is going to be a massacre of this roster.
Yeah, I mean, you lost to Pisa and you lost to Verona in like your
And
last 3
Parma.
games, and like, yeah, and Parma. Did I say Pisa? Did I say that wrong? Did they lose to Pisa?
I don't think they lost to Pisa. I hope they didn't lose
No,
to
I
Pisa.
don't know. So that's it. I said that wrong. So they lost to Parma and they lost to Verona. Like those
You
are the
stink.
guys
You stink.
you're crawling points off of to get out of here. Like at this point, I'm gonna go from the bottom of the table to the top, and you tell me who you think Fiorentina can beat. Pisa, maybe. Verona, you just lost. Genoa's better than you.
Genoa's
Lecce's
better
than
than
you.
Fiorentina.
Parma's clearly better than you now. Cagliari is way better than you. Torino's way better than you. Cremonese is way better than you. Udinese is way better than you. And that brings us to number 10, and they're definitely not better than any of those teams.
Let me just pause, though. You didn't ask me if they're better than Torino. I think they might be better than Torino. Torino sucks. But no, I'm going to pick out my bouquet. I got my black suit ready. I got my little Fiorentina pin. My Gumar is going down. It'll give me a reason to watch Serie B next year, but it is such a sad scene.
I'm done defending them. I'm done defending them.
You can't. How can
I mean,
you,
after this
how
game,
can you defend this team?
No,
actually,
you can't.
You know what? I'm going to make you defend this team because your bitch ass was like, Vanoli is my boy. Vanoli's going to turn this shit around. Vanoli's got this in the bag. What's Vanoli doing?
I don't know. He's changing things, which I do appreciate. But this is a game like boss this game.
Yeah.
You have some of the best midfielders in the league. Like, take it to this team, beat the shit out of them, score a bunch of goals, and it's not there.
Dude,
they don't have it.
If I were to say, if you're any team in this league and I say you can have Albert Goodmanson and Moise Kean up top, are you going to take that? And the answer should be yes. Almost
90%.
15 teams in this league would take that.
I mean, I think Pisa would take that. We could do the same test. Pisa would take that. Verona would take that. Genoa, Lecce, Parma, Cagliari. Like
they would all take it. And this Fiorentina team is taking that.
It's an embarrassment.
They're taking this lineup, shoving it up their ass, and pooping it back out. That's all that's going on. And it's honestly disrespectful at this point what Fiorentina's doing.
To the fans. It's horrible.
Well, you know what? To the fans, they deserve this too because they kicked out Palladino and look what he's doing at Atalanta. So they potentially deserve this as well. But everyone involved in this organization should be ashamed.
I think they're going down.
Bye-bye.
And then on the flip side of things, I noted this on Parma, just to wrap on them. Like, I haven't been super hot on them, but like, they're playing football that gets them some results. And they're doing what
3 wins in 5 games. You take that in the bottom of the table.
What they're doing that Fiorentina's not doing is beating the teams around them. They beat Fiorentina, they beat Verona, they beat Pisa.
You got to do those things.
That's like, those are massive, massive wins when you're in a relegation battle. You're beating everybody around you, forcing them further down, further down, further down. And I don't know. I hate it. I don't like Parma either. Like, I hate what they're doing as a team. I love all the players, but I don't like how they're playing football, but they're getting it done. And Fiorentina, fuck. Figure it out. Figure it out. Like, seriously.
Oh, just horrendous. Anyways, let's go to your 2 boys for the next game. Cagliari went to Torino. They got their 3 points 2-1. Torino stinks, dude. Torino stinks.
Torino's not great. I think. I mean, the goal scorers in this one, just to walk us through it: Vlasic, Prati, and then I'm going to butcher the name, Kilksoy. Prati, for you guys, he's one of the guys I picked out of the. I've been saying for a while. I think he's a good player. He's going to be a big move. But on this one, I think Cagliari are better than Torino, and I'm not surprised that they won.
Cagliari. Let's do the test. Cagliari better than Fiorentina, Pisa, Verona, Genoa, Lecce, Parma, Torino. Cremonese on their day is better, and they're.
No, I disagree.
Cagliari is definitely better than Udinese. One thing that I'll take out of this game, which I just think was just an abomination, was, and I'll butcher the name too, Kilsoy, Turkish guy, Turkish lad, young guy, was put in some graphics next to the one and only Yildiz.
This is bad.
And
this is bad.
I get it, they're both Turkish and they both play in Serie A, but please do not put this man on the same level as the Wonder Kid, the Wonder Boy, the man that drives Juve in Yildiz. They are not the same. One little wonder goal, a little bit of back and forth, a little bit of trickery, a little bit of magic up top, some poor defending out of Torino. That does not put you on the same level. So please stop that. Stop the madness.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean,
but good for Cags.
From a Baroni perspective, though, I'm just
Baroni's also your boy.
Old. It's same old with what I've been saying. Like player selection, and I did not watch this game, which is insane. I did not get a chance to, but just like looking at the formations and player selection, it just goes back to that for me. I mean, that's what I've been saying about this team. I don't like what Baroni's rolling out there. Play Duvan Zapata. He is your best player, probably. Play him. Get him on the field. I don't care where you put him. Put him at center back. He needs to be on the field at all times.
Center back, not gonna lie.
He probably would, but it's a fucking brick shithouse.
I would also say that if Torino weren't in 13th, if they were 16th, 17th here, I'm firing Baroni.
I think he should be fired already. And I think he should be in the league in a different job. This should not be his job. I don't like it. I don't like anything. He's not improving any players. That's what I always go back to. Like, you need something to hang your hat on if you're like, okay, we're not playing well, but I'm doing X, Y, Z well. You're not playing well. You're not changing anything. You're not improving anybody. Why are you here?
Bad vibes.
Get out.
Bad vibes.
Yeah. Not good enough. I mean, this was a Torino team that I loved, and I talked about it so much coming to this season, how much I think this team can achieve, how they can take steps forward, and he just hasn't done that. He hasn't done anything, and it's sad, but it's true.
Team that is getting it done, though.
Team that's getting it fucking done, yeah.
The little lads by the lake. Como. Yeah. Dude, Como vibe check on Como is immaculate. Immaculate.
This was the best Como game of their Serie A careers as a club.
And they've won 5-1, 5-0. This is a 3-0 game. Was
3-0 awesome. At Lecce. Nico Paz, once again, goal and assist. Duvikas and Jacopo Ramon, the other two goal scorers. Dominance. Lecce
front to back
got absolutely worked. There's literally an ongoing case study being completed for this game in how you put belt on ass after this game. It was such utter dominance. They had one goal that did not go in where they built from back to front. Jacopo Ramon played a ball like across the field, and then they just went vertical, and they didn't end up scoring, but they got a shot and got a corner kick. Duvikas had two insane bicycle kicks that didn't go in. One got saved, and then one got called off sides. Like, literally the entire team played well, all the way back to the goalie. He had a bunch of great saves in this one that, I mean, I don't think it mattered. Like, they could have gone in, and they still would have fucking won the game. But this is the kind of thing that most top Serie A clubs do not do.
Mm-hmm.
They go play a Lecce at Lecce, and they squeak out like a 1-2-0 win. They don't just roll it out there and just beat the shit out of them.
Yeah, no, that I will talk about Como until the day I die. The thing I'll leave it on here is, Paisans, if you listen to this podcast, I know for sure that you watch Como, so I'm not particularly worried about you. But for those that aren't listening or that are just tuning in for the first time, you need to watch Nico Paz. There is now a solidified timeline for Nico Paz in Serie A. Real Madrid have officially triggered his buyback clause. He will be back on Real Madrid come the summer, and we'll never be able to watch him again because he'll just be riding pine. Nico Paz is otherworldly. He is awesome. He's exciting. He's electric. You very rarely see a player at this age playing at this level, playing this confidently, and playing in a system that's built for him. This Como squad is built for Nico Paz, a 19-year-old star boy. This team who is in sixth, vying for a top 4 spot in Serie A, is built for a 19-year-old.
He's 21. He's 21.
In Europe, it doesn't matter. You can still drink over the age of 18, so it's totally fine. But this man is incredible. Get it. Watch him while you can. It's ever fleeting.
On him, who do you compare him to? Because in my mind, the guy I keep going back to is Mesut Ozil.
Dude, I was going to say Ozil, but he's way better than Ozil.
He's a better scorer, I think, than Ozil was, but he has the same kind of weird pass vision that Ozil had.
But he finds way better. He's faster on the ball. Like, his movement is electric. His turns are sharp.
He's more of a forward. Like, you could play him as a 9, and I think you'd be okay. Ozil is not that.
No, you can't play Ozil as a 9.
And if that's the guy we're comparing him to, and he's like, oh, he's kind of better at a lot of stuff. I mean,
no, I'm having trouble. Great. I'm having trouble finding a comparison to the array of skill that he has. And
he does everything well.
I don't even feel bad for glazing this man. He deserves it.
This is kind of, this was like with CDK. People are like, oh, this is all the stuff that CDK can do when he was coming out of Bruges.
Yes, he's a pure trickerista, which we don't use that term a lot, mostly because I can't say it well. But it's the combination of a 10, 7, 11. You can put him at in a 4-2-3-1. He can play any of the top 4 spots, and he's going to excel at it. I mean, something that he's added to his game this year more than last year is that he actually can drop in deep and receive the ball.
Yeah,
and drive the ball forward.
He finds a way to get into games that he shouldn't be in.
Exactly. He always makes himself relevant to any game, any match, and it's just a pleasure and an honor to watch Nico Paz play.
I think that's cool. I think I agree. I'm just checking something on Lecce. Sorry, one second.
Well,
because I don't like Lecce.
No, I hate.
But
I'll cover Lecce for 2 seconds, and it'll be a very short stint here. I fucking hate Lecce. I can't wait to see them go down, and it's so unfortunate that
they might not go down.
That there are so many bad teams at the bottom of this table, but in honor of the way we've been processing tonight. Is Lecce better than Fiorentina? Not discussing. Pisa, maybe. Verona? I think Verona's better than Lecce.
I think Verona is on the come up and are gonna survive.
Well,
I think
Giovanni's finally putting goals away, which is really important.
They're good. They're much better now. I think they might survive. Still, like, gonna be tough. They're gonna be in the battle, and it could be them. But I think that third spot is them or Lecce, because I like what DDR is doing with Genoa. And to be fair, Lecce's in 16th, Genoa 17, Verona 18. You look around there, I think Parma's significantly better than those three teams, and then like Cagliari's the next in 14th, so you're not really throwing them out. So it's basically a dogfight of Lecce, Genoa, Verona for that last spot. And Lecce's definitely the worst of those three teams.
For sure. That's not a question. Another bad team,
I
though.
don't even remember what I was looking at.
That's right. I want to talk about. I don't want to talk about another bad team, but I'm going to talk about another bad team. Udinese, somehow 95th winner Keenan Davis, who for whatever reason has been coming out of the woodwork and just grabbing goals last couple games for Udinese.
Yeah,
don't know why. Don't know from where. But Lazio go to Udinese. They draw 1-1. Unfortunate for Lazio because this is a game that they should be winning, even with the injuries that they have.
Yeah. I got something to say.
I don't like Lazio.
Finish your Udinese take.
I don't like either of these teams. That's all I want to say.
That's all you're gonna say?
That's it. I don't like Lazio. I know that they're injury prone. I don't know why they're looking to sell their best striker. None of this makes any sense to me. But both these teams kind of stink.
Yeah, I mean, Lazio's very clear problem. We say it every week. They just didn't have a transfer window, and they are fully feeling the effects. They are absolutely decimated. And then Castellanos is also apparently leaving in January, which when that happens, we can talk about it, but that makes, oh my God, no sense.
No sense.
Like, literally doesn't make any sense. But like in terms of actual guys that are not playing, Ravella, Basic, Guendouzi, your three starting midfielders are not playing because they're not available.
Can't win
and
games like that.
Diaz also not available. So you go to Naslin, who has been not really a starter, has been in and out of games, not really a great 9. I think he's good.
He's a winger.
But like Udinese's not a layup game. Like you can't just roll out the guys and think like you're gonna win. Midfield 3 in this game: Vecino, Cataldi, and Belayan. And Belayan has not played this year because he's not good. Like he's not good enough to play for this team. They just didn't have anybody else. So you have 3 midfielders, none of which really can create goals. Like Vecino, I actually don't think is bad, but he's not good anymore. Like he's been around and like he's on the tail end.
Vecino
I don't really like Cataldi.
They just take up space and they are okay.
Like, and then you have Cataldi, who's been okay, but is more of like your deep lying player in this one. And so then Belayan just like takes up space essentially. Zaccagni, I've kind of been on all year. I'm not sold on him anymore.
Bad.
And then Consigliere then is just left by himself. And I don't think he had his best game. So there's a lot going on with Lazio that I think is not Maurizio Sarri's fault necessarily. I still would like to see Gustav Isaksen play more games, but I mean, that's personal preference. I think Consigliere is still very good. So I'm still not judging Lazio. I thought they were going to come out and be like, everybody's healthy. Firing immediately does not happen. Everybody's hurt again. There's a chance they're allowed to have a January window. I was reading about this. So if that happens, maybe things go well. Maybe they bring in a couple guys and things change. But still no update on Lazio because we're still waiting for the rest 11 to play a game, maybe 2 games at some point would be great. For Udinese, I don't like watching Udinese either. I think they're pretty boring outside of Zaniolo, and they're leaking goals. They're the most goals conceded, right, in the league.
Tied with Torino.
And that's bad football. And they just happen to middle of the table because sometimes
which is unfortunate though, because I think
wins.
Solet,
he's gonna leave. I think he's gonna leave.
He's been good, and I think Christensen is a good center back as well. He's had a couple of bad games, but he's a good center back.
And Kenan Davies and Zaniolo are a good wombo combo.
Right. So they have pieces.
They're worse than they were last year. And they're kind of in the same area. Last year, I thought they were tactically very good, even though they still conceded a good amount of goals. It wasn't this bad. They were always a hard team to play against. Now, I don't know. It's not like a great, last year, I could watch them and say, interesting tactically. They're set up very well. Now I'm like,
they kind of remind me of where
just shoot
Empoli
from the
was
hip
last
now.
Year.
They're way better than Empoli. Don't even put them in the same conversation as Empoli,
I think that they're, if not this year, they're going to be in the same spot as Empoli, and that's going to be
you know what they're trending? Them next year, if they go at this trajectory, will be Torino this year. That's how I think about them.
I think they'll be worse. I think they'll be worse.
Maybe worse. You could be right.
Well,
one thing I want to talk about with them really quick. I thought about this. If you're a bigger Serie A club, do you take a flyer on Zaniolo in January? Because I think that they would probably be fine I don't even know if they own him now that I'm thinking about this.
I don't know if they do, because I think because Villa didn't
Isn't
own
he still?
him.
He might still
Is
be
he
owned by a
owned by
Turkish
Turkey?
club.
In any
I'm
case,
checking right now. Let me fact
what I'll
check
say about
myself.
Zaniolo is the human race has only progressed over time because we have been able to learn from the mistakes of past. Every time that the world comes out of a war, we tend to be better. We tend to come out with new ideas, and we learn to leave the bad in the past. If I'm a big club in Serie A, I need to take after my predecessors, after the human race that has got me to this point, and leave Zaniolo in the past. There is no good that comes out of going after this man unless Udinese pays you to take him. That's the
Okay,
only
so
good that I see.
I just fact checked myself. He is owned by Galatasaray. He's on loan, so there's nothing to be done right now. But
He's
I guess my point
going
still
back.
stands. If this continues, would you take a flyer on Zaniolo? I would.
Did you not just hear my rant about the human race?
I know, but he's different. It's different now.
No,
he's changed his game.
Bad.
No, the thing I used to always said why Zaniolo does not get better is he just keeps the ball too long, and he's not doing that anymore. And he's also playing in central areas and then getting out wide. I think this is the mold of player. I think he has learned. And I think I'm officially saying it. Zaniolo is here to stay.
Oh.
He is good, and he needs to go to a bigger club next year.
Oh, it's painful.
I think he's developed a better skill set and kind of evolved his game, because when he first came onto the scene, he kind of played like he was a fast, tricky winger almost, and sometimes played as a nine, sometimes played out wide. Now he kind of understands the faults in his game, and like he is shooting from distance really, really well, getting into dangerous positions to then just like score goals, coming a little bit deeper to build up, getting away from like taking guys on. He doesn't even take guys on one-on-one anymore. Like that he really knows it's not his thing. I think he's here to stay, and I like it. I'm here for the Zaniolo ride.
From what you're describing, it sounds
still
like
should not be called up.
Zaniolo, but from what you're describing is what Elmas was at his best.
What?
Am I wrong?
No, you're not. I don't know if you've ever watched Elmas after saying
I
that.
have. I'm back on Napoli.
No.
Like a wide 10.
No. Elmas was a winger, full winger on Napoli at first. Not anymore.
Definitely not anymore.
You know who I think could use him is Milan. I think he'd be perfect for that role.
No. Don't fuck with what Milan's got going on. Let's talk about Milan.
Yeah, we can talk about Milan.
Because we had another battering this weekend, which honestly, like, scoreline a little different than what actually happened on the pitch, but 3-0, Milan at San Siro. They take care of business against Verona. Big storylines here very quickly. Pulisic again, another goal. This guy cannot be stopped.
Yeah, quick on goal. Just ring out the goal scorers, Pulisic and Kunku.
Pulisic with the first, and Kunku had a penalty to get off the mark, and then had a cleanup job on a really, really good Modric shot to pick up the brace. Modric very quickly nasty once again. It's become just it's almost like it's not even notable anymore because he just does it game in, game out.
Can I interrupt?
You already have. Go ahead.
This is what Juve 2 under Allegri did not have. And in this game, Luka Modric bossed this game and took it to a team that sometimes like an Allegri system struggles with, like a team that like isn't going to kind of try to bring the game to you. Modric rocked it.
Yes.
This was, I think, Modric's best game for Milan. And he should have scored. It hit a post, then went off the goalie, and then Nkunku cleated it up. But he was all over the pitch, passing, shooting, breaking up play, dominant.
100%.
World class.
100%. Two quick things. I don't want to. As a Milan fan, I'm not going to harp on this. We beat a team in a relegation spot, so it's better than what we've done against the other promoted teams. So it's one step up. But again, Pulisic unstoppable. The only thing that seems to be getting in his way are rumors that he is in cahoots dating our lovely lady with some beautiful material to work with, Sydney Sweeney. Those rumors have been put to rest, specifically by Pulisic. He has come out on socials and made it very clear that silly rumors like this can really hurt somebody. It definitely probably put a damper on his relationship with his beautiful golfer girlfriend. However, they were all over socials, lovey-dovey, looking like they're in the time of their lives, little Christmas celebration, making some pasta, beautiful stuff.
Whoever made up this rumor, that's like the funniest thing ever.
He was saying that if these sources had to be held accountable, and I truly agree with that. And if those sources ever want to start a rumor that I'm dating Sydney Sweeney, please put that out there as soon as possible. It really does, but it really does change people's lives. Rumors like this. So please, if you have any indication that Sydney Sweeney is dating me, please put that out there. Last but not least, fun fact of the day here that I do think is important, back to the regularly scheduled program here. Milan have had a tough time with the bottom of the table. Out of the possible points that Milan could have gotten this season, they have achieved a 42% accumulation rate against teams in the 11 to 15th spot and 83% in the 16 to 20. That is worrisome. It's not as bad as you think. We're getting 83% of the possible points against the top 10 teams in the league, which is a little bit better than Roma, which is getting 50% of those points, and Juve getting around 50% as well. But again, we need to make this a thing where we put away shitty teams. So let's
Yeah,
build
I mean,
upon that.
I think it's good. Totally positive takeaway. Like I love this going in the right direction. You're getting better. What do teams that win competitions do? They get better throughout the year. I mean, and this is them getting better. Like they're now winning games that they weren't winning
We're
before.
not ahead of schedule. That's what I love. I don't think we're ahead of schedule. I think we're right on schedule, which is beautiful stuff.
I would still say a little bit ahead. I don't think they would have expected to be this close at this point. I think a little bit ahead.
I was calling for top 3.
Yeah. I was saying top 5. So I think that's kind of right in the mix.
We're right.
Okay, really quick. The last thing I want to say in this game, Christopher Nkunku took the penalty when it was 1-0, and I really did not like that.
Yeah, I think you're up in arms about stupid stuff. Stop trying to bring us down here.
Like, I just don't like it. It doesn't sit well with me. Like, you have your penalty taker, and it's Christian Pulisic, and he had a big, significant miss. Kind of, was that at the beginning of this year? Yeah. So, like, I would much rather have him take it than getting Nkunku off the mark. Like, Nkunku,
we have a striker problem, so I think that it's okay to have to lean into
but like
it.
Nkunku made it, so it's not a storyline. If Nkunku misses that, it's like, what the hell? Why did you let him take that?
I'm not here to talk about hypotheticals.
Yeah, fair.
Nkunku is a bigger storyline here. I'm reserving my thoughts because the transfer window is opening up on the next couple of days, and he is right at the forefront of everything Milan is talking about. So on the next episode, I will certainly be diving more into what Nkunku's situation is in our new signing and full group.
For Verona, they were kind of due for a loss. They just beat Atalanta and Fiorentina. You now go to the San Siro.
It's fine. Let it be.
It's fine.
Move on.
You're right there.
Yeah.
You are 2 points out of into above relative, like 2 points from being clear. Like you're right there. Keep doing what you're doing. You guys are doing well. This game was bad, but that's okay. Milan's way better than you.
Way better.
All right. Other game, Napoli at Cremonese.
Napoli got it done.
Brace for Højlund in this one. That guy's absolutely
on fire.
Ripping at this point.
On fire.
Don't want to spend a ton of time on Napoli because I don't think there's anything new and they should be beating Cremonese. But just want to reiterate, they're kind of sticking with the Wombo combo, Neres, Højlund up top, with a kind of like the midfield 3 behind them. And this one, it was Elmas, McTominay, Lubaka. And then they went back to what I said, Juan Jesus, Rachmani, Di Lorenzo as a back 3, which I think Juan Jesus deserves it at this point. I mean,
he's been playing well. Although, I mean, I'm telling you, he was 1 foot out the door after that celebration for the Super Cup because that man tried to take the spotlight away from De Laurentiis, which everyone knows you cannot do on this Napoli team. But no, in all seriousness, Juan Jesus has done an incredible job bringing himself back from that realistically just a rotation player 10 minutes from the 80th minute to now starting and getting real minutes, and playing really well and earning those minutes.
Very well.
Not just out of necessity. Buongiorno and Bucama are both healthy right now. He has earned this spot and it's been playing well.
Bucama was out. Buongiorno is healthy.
Okay, Bucama needs to stop getting hurt. That man has not been healthy the entire season. But in any case, I think even if Bucama was healthy, I think Juan Jesus, rightfully so, is playing.
I agree.
2 teams here that one I was hot on. I can't be hot on anymore. Another team that we're consistently hot on. And I'll say it and I'll say it again. SAS are good. Sassuolo are good team.
Nasty.
Bologna are just dragging ass right now.
One to one game.
You know, it was a 1-1 game.
Yeah,
Sassuolo went to Bologna. Bologna went up early. Fabian with a good goal, a little poor defending from Sassuolo.
Good goal. It was a very good Bologna goal. That was a classic Bologna team goal.
It was a great goal. I think a little lacking on the defensive side from Sassuolo, but they answered back pretty quickly. I think 10 minutes later, Mihajlovic puts one away off a corner, good header. I mean, this I think the storyline here, as we've talked about Bologna already a lot, is that Sassuolo are starting to turn into a real team. And by turn into a real team, I think they are a real team. They've figured out a way to solidify their play style where they're not so super dependent on that front line, which is incredibly potent. But they've got a midfield trio that they roll out that's very strong, and their back line is showing that they actually are a real Serie A back line. Their center backs, Idjits and Mihajlovic, are very, very strong, and their goalkeeper is playing really well. I think the Sassuolo team has put themselves in a great position. They're ninth in the table right now in shouting distance of both Lazio and Bologna, and they're right in the way of Atalanta. So you, as a Sassuolo team that realistically shouldn't have been relegated 2 seasons ago, newly promoted this year, being in the mix of Bologna, Lazio, and Atalanta, you can't ask for much more.
Yeah, from a SAS perspective, another good game. Like, I know what I'm going to get out of SAS every week, which I can't say about most of the teams in the table. That's one thing. I'm happy that they got a result like this. A 1-1 against Bologna is a great result. I mean, you're still a newly promoted team, and you're playing a Bologna team that, I mean, was one of the hottest things on the block in Italy. I think the other thing that we're kind of starting to see going into the summer, they're going to make a shitload of money. You're probably going to sell Idze's, your two center backs, for pretty big money, I would assume. Like, good center backs go for a premium now. I've been talking about Kone all year. I think he's been good. Thorsved is still linked to a possible Napoli move. And then you have Loriente, Pinamonti, Volpato. There's going to be suitors for them.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of you're going to be balls in your court stats. You can keep these guys. You can make a lot of money and reinvest. They are in a great spot. And I think that one of the most underappreciated men of the year is their coach, Fabio Grosso. Nobody's talked about him even a little bit, and I think he deserves an immense amount of credit for getting this team where they are.
No, they've done a great job. I know we don't like to talk about the Prem, but this team reminds me of where Crystal Palace was last year, aside from the fact that they're probably not going to win a spot into
I think
Europa
they
League.
remind me of they could even be a Bologna for me, like getting there.
Well, and that's the problem that they're going to have is it's going to be a really big decision as to whether they want to be a full-on selling club or if they want to build upon this core.
Right,
and that's a really important decision for the longevity of the squad. I think that there are certain players. I think in the best interest of the squad, I think you got to go 50-50 here. You sell.
Yeah, I agree. I 100%
sell
agree.
Loriente because you have a Federa on the back, the back end of that. You sell one of your center backs, you keep one of them, and you invest in a younger guy here. Because this, to me, seems like you can solidify yourself as a 10 to 8 team on an annual basis here, which I think is really important for a SAS that got a taste of Serie B and never want to go back.
Yeah, I agree. On a Bologna side of things, talk about them a little bit.
It's the same thing that I said last week for me.
I think they're a little bit in the spiral now. I mean, the other problem is Ravalia was kind of weak goalkeeping. He went to punch on a corner kick and
missed.
Didn't punch it. Really important to do that.
Really important.
Punch it. Freuler on the bench. Big.
One step in the right direction.
Ferguson on the bench. Big.
Ferguson's healthy. He hasn't been playing well. That's why he's on the bench.
I think that Italiano has got to figure something out. I don't know what's really wrong with this team at this point. Because, I mean, I don't think a lot has changed apart from, it can't just be that Freuler isn't playing and they can't win games. Like, that cannot be it. Maybe it is. Maybe Freuler comes back to this team and all of a sudden everything gets back to normal. But I'm waiting.
It's a wait and see thing here. And the other thing is, you noted it.
Oh, the other thing is Lukumi has been really bad.
I was just going to say, like,
Lukumi has been really bad.
It's game in and game out. At least one of their center backs has a howler of a game, which is going to lead to a bunch of draws and a bunch of results that you don't want at this point in the season. Last 4 games, lost, draw. Can't be having that. Can't be having that when you're in pursuit of a European competition spot. I understand that they've got a little bit of injury woes. They're still juggling the European competition that they're in now in the Europa League. But again, I sound like a fucking idiot, but I gave them their flowers and they've just been shit ever since. They just, they're in a rut. They're in a rut similar to what Fiorentina went through last year at basically the same time of the year. Fiorentina was incredibly hot, went on a run, and then they had a stretch of games, I think literally in December, January, where they fully took a step back. I'd like to see them go into 2026 and just rethink where they stand.
Yeah, I think Italiano just needs to do a little bit of soul searching. He's in a weird spot that he hasn't, I don't think, ever really been in. I mean, people were really hot on Bologna. I was too. And I mean, even on his best Fiorentina days, it wasn't like that. So, I mean, he's in a new situation, learning moment. We'll see if they come out of it. I mean, it's not like his job's in jeopardy, but I would just like to see things get better because it's stagnant now. You're stagnant, and you got to start making things happen.
Yeah, and Bologna being good in this league has been good for the league itself.
I agree with that. I think
having a competitive, exciting Bologna.
SAS is exciting for the league.
It was a good game. This was a good matchup. I was looking forward to it.
I
think a 1-1 draw is kind of what you get out of it. They both just need to move forward, and 2 teams on different trajectories. One needs to fix it. One needs to keep riding. I think that's all that needs to be said here. But again, I think, and then going into this last game of the weekend, the Monday draw,
DDR Derby.
The DDR Derby, Genoa at Roma, DDR with a beautiful celebration of his time in Roma. They had the Supers had a sign out there for him that said that Rome will always be his home. got a little teary-eyed. I think that got into his head a little bit. Roma roll 3-1. Sule, Kone, Ferguson. Ferguson with an assist as well off the back of some pretty daunting comments out of Gasperini. And then Roma give up one goal at the end and then in extra time to Ekator, who's turning out to be a pretty decent player. But I think the storyline here is Ferguson responding to his manager calling him out, which we know Gasperini historically has had a tough time managing the personalities of his team. I don't think Ferguson is a huge personality, but the fact that he publicly came out and said that him and the new transfers have not been up to snuff in terms of Gasperini's. This was a good game for Ferguson to show up going to 2026 on the hot hand.
A couple things to unpack here. So Kone had the softest goal call off I've ever seen for a foul. It was horrible officiating. But regardless, I still don't think Ferguson's the guy. I thought he was okay in this game. He scored, yes. I still think he was just okay. And I still think it's a problem. I think it's a problem that needs to get addressed in January. How they go about that, I'm not sure. I think they're going to have to sell some people to raise some money. The other thing I'm thinking is Gasperini is never not going to play Kone and Cristante at this point, which is unfortunate because I think there's a lot of guys that should be playing there, but that's what he's going with it. I don't think it's going to change. Now that Kone scored, look what Kone did. Like, I got to keep playing him. I don't think Kone played great either, to be honest with you, in this one. So that's one thing. What I will say is this was probably like one of the bigger wins for Roma in terms of like dominating a game on the score sheet. So I think it kind of paints them in a really good light. But at the same time, Genoa's pretty bad. So like you should be beating Genoa at home handedly. So I don't want to get too carried away there. I think one thing that I am liking is Gasperini going back to Zielkowski. Mm-hmm. I really like this player. I think he's the next generation of Roma center backs. It should probably be playing every game at this point. Indicco was hurt, so he wasn't in. Hermoso comes in. I still don't think Mancini should be in their best back three, but Mancini, Zielkowski, because is very solid. I mean, that's legit. And Zielkowski has a chance to elevate their defense to another level that they haven't been at yet. And I think that's a storyline to watch for the rest of the year for sure. I think that's it for me.
Yeah, the last thing.
Celik played good again. I like to see him.
Celik's your boy. No, the one thing
I would rather see a Divine Wrench out there. Give me something new.
Divine Wrench.
I like him. Get him at wing back. I thought he played well when he was playing center back. I like Celik. Yes, he's not a Champions League caliber player. Like, he's good. He doesn't do anything wrong. I don't think he adds a tremendous amount. I think he crosses the ball once in a while. But I'd take a risk there. Get Wrench in there. Give him some time. I don't know. Tinker. The Tinkerman needs to tinker more.
Tinkerman needs to tinker. The one thing I'll say here is Roma in fourth place, again, very tight at the top of the table. But the problem that I'm seeing when I look at this table is I see Inter, I see Milan, Napoli, Roma, Juve, Como, just like everybody else does, because that's how the table is laid out. But the glaring difference is that I'm hot on Inter, I'm hot on Milan, I'm hot on Napoli, I'm hot on Juve, and I'm hot on Como.
Right,
and
I agree.
Cold, I am frigid on where Roma is right now, which worries me in terms of the next month or two.
Yeah, I mean, their next game is against Atalanta. And going into that game, I'm like, I feel better about Atalanta than Roma right now. Going into that game, I was blown away by Atalanta against Inter. And to your point, I have not been blown away with anything Roma has done yet.
Vibes are not there. Vibes are not there. But that is the wrap up, guys. It was a great week of footy, a great weekend to end 2025. We go into 2026 with a great week of more footy. Folks, do you have the?
Yeah, we have one crown to give really quick. The last crown of the year.
Yes, last Stunad of the week for 2025.
Yeah. We alluded to this Stunad of the week. This might be Stunad of the year. Like, ironically, the last one of the year, this could be the Stunad of the week of the year. Like, MVP of the Stunad team of the season. Stunad of the week is Samardzic for the worst miss ever in a massive game for his club, in a massive moment, like 85th minute, I think it was. Down 1-0 at home against Inter Milan. Ball slid right across the 6-yard box, just like scuffs it. Nobody around him, scuffs it, misses. Your team loses.
It's kind of just a culmination.
You let your club down. You let Bergamo down. You let Palladino down.
You let Vos down. Can't be letting Vos down.
You really let me down. You're Stunad of the week, Samardzic.
Congratulations, Samardzic. Congratulations. Guys, Paisans, first game week, first match week of 2026, real quick.
Match week
Milan,
18.
18. Milan go to the island to play Cagliari. Udinese travel to the little lads by the lake. Como's going to absolutely steamroll them. Parma's going to the good team in SAS. Pisa go to Genoa in a relegation battle. Lecce go into the dog cage in Juventus. Game of the week, Roma go to Bergamo. Atalanta.
Game of the week.
Game of the week might be game of the year on the first weekend of the year. Napoli travel to Rome, play Lazio. Cremonese battle the dead guys in Fiorentina. Torino against Verona. Do not watch that game, but expect Verona to win because Torino stink. And to round it all out, Bologna go to the San Siro to play the top of the table holders in Inter Milan.
I like Bologna. I think
a
Bologna
little rebound game there. A little rebound game.
I feel good. I don't know why. I got a feeling.
But with that setup, Paisans, we wrap it all up with the first Coppa di Luna 2026. We've got a great lineup for you. A very average payout, but we got some twists and turns in here. Vos, I'll let you start it off.
Yeah, last couple of weeks we're getting hot. We went 2 for 3,
I
2 out of
it.
3,
I
2 out of
it.
3 last 2 weeks.
I boofed it.
So we've been doing well. We're kind of hit our stride this time of the year last year.
That's about right.
But my pick in this one, I have got. Sorry, I'm looking at the lineups. The matchups. I've got SAS money line at home against Parma -115. Again, I really like SAS. I don't like Parma. SAS better than Parma. SAS at home, like triple combo. 1 + 1 + 1 is 3. SAS at home against Parma. SAS money line -115.
I love the way you think. I love the way you think.
Math's mathing.
But the math is mathing. The non-existent Mots, we do have game of the year implications. Atalanta, Roma, both teams to score -135. I think it's a great bet.
That is a good one. I like that one.
I thought that Atalanta, Inter over 2.5 was be a great bet last week. It made too much sense. The logic was too logical. That's why it didn't hit. This one is just about right. I agree with Mots here. And then to round it all out, I've got Paisans. I got a special for you. I've got a parlay within a parlay. We got Parlayception for the first weekend of 2026. We've got Como money line at home. That's the 1. Como's good. Como's at home. That's 2. Como's better than shitty Udinese. That's 3. And then for the 4, we got Nico Paz, the wonder kid, the best player in the world at some points in time to score or assist. That is +145 together. And when you bet the Colby, you got +694. Paisans, you know what to do. You bet all the legs. You bet the Colby. You win some money. $100 down on the Colby this week gets you $794 back. That repays you for all of your holiday gifts this season. Start out 2026 with a little bit of change in the pocket. Paisans, that's a wrap. What a wonderful episode. Really appreciate it. I apologize that I may have died in the middle of the episode. It happens to the best of them. Once again, I do want to hammer home that if there are any sources out there linked to Sydney Sweeney and my relationship, please let those go loose. And you know where to find us at Couch Culture FC, X, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and on all your favorite streaming sites for podcasts, Apple Pods, and Spotify. Wish Mats was here, but Vos, take us away.
It's odds. Happy New Year's. Also, do not be a gagoots and Forza Calcio Culture.